Welcome back to the tutorial for the hardest mode in God of War 2018. This is going to show one of the Dwarven favors, a side mission. There's a little bit of optional combat that I do in this area, but I couldn't figure out what the fuck I was supposed to do in this area, so I just ended up leaving after killing these enemies. But I show the combat anyway. So yeah, after this there'll actually be some difficult encounters in the actual Dwarven favor. There's actually a few that are pretty tough, so those will be a little bit more interesting. But yeah, I just wanted to get these assholes out of here, so I used the rage mode to speed things up. There's a harder purple enemy in here. I think there's actually, yeah, there's two of them, so those take a little bit longer to kill. But I go back to the old range tactics, just throwing the axe and using the arrows. A lot of enemies will succumb to that after a while, the easier ones. They block a good number of them, but, you know, eventually it all gets through. And yeah, I wasted a stone here, but I think there's a blacksmith that I go to immediately after this area, so it doesn't really matter. Now I get a little bit more aggressive. Yeah, and this is the area with the Dwarven favor, another optional mission. I think there's a few hard parts in this mission. It can be tough on this mode. I skip over most of the you know, optional, like, exploration and puzzle shit. But, there's a bird up here, so I show that. Occasionally I'll show some, you know, show me getting some of the things, but not too much. It's mostly combat focused. So yeah, down here, this was a tough fight. I died a lot on this fight. The best thing to do ended up being, of course, I knocked down that explosive vase or whatever it is immediately when the fight starts. But the best thing I found to do was to play it really aggressively and try to take out those floating nightmares immediately. Because what ends up happening is they go into the enemies and they give them a ton of extra health, and then see, then when you fill the stun bar up all the way, then the nightmare comes out again, and it'll go into another enemy and fill up that enemy's health again. Here I accidentally went into the menu. Sometimes I do that, but yeah, you want to kill those nightmares immediately. They cause huge problems. They make the enemies very strong. So I was able to end the fight a lot quicker by doing that, because there's a lot of enemies to deal with. This is a tough fight. I just try to kill those nightmares immediately. But yeah, it doesn't take too long if you get those if you kill those nightmares quickly. There's a fight here against. Well, actually, yeah. First, there's a little revenant enemy, which I ended up using my rage here. I think just to get it over with. But yeah, we fought enough of these by now. There's a Soul Eater enemy coming up, but it's very easy because there's explosive barrels that you can use. So you can pretty much take off half of its health with one barrel. I wasted a resurrection stone here, which I probably should have saved it for one of the later fights, but I didn't really feel like redoing it, even though it's an easy fight. And then I wasted my rage here. I was just like, fuck it, get it over with. And here's actually, this fight's actually quite difficult. I died a number of times on this. This was like maybe around 40 something minutes, or maybe it was an hour, I'm not sure. But it was this was my progress within that amount of recording time. But yeah, this fight's really tough. Again, you want to take out these nightmares immediately because they will go into the enemies and make the enemies take extremely long to kill. So it's good to eliminate them immediately. And of course, get rid of these ranged assholes because they'll cause problems. And then you see you got more enemies that appear. So there's quite a few enemies. And the nightmares are what make this encounter difficult. Now see that rage, that boulder move that I have where I can throw boulders in rage mode? You see it does massive damage. It one-hit kills those single enemies. And at one point I killed 2 enemies with 1 boulder because they hit 2 enemies at once because they're really large. So I recommend spending the 10,000 experience to get that boulder upgrade for the rage. You know, it's really worth using. It can really, it can fuck up like harder enemies, and it can one-hit kill weaker enemies. So it makes things a lot easier. So it's definitely extremely helpful. He may still be possessed by a nightmare. Yeah, he is, so like the damage I'm doing to him really doesn't count right now until you get rid of the nightmare. You gotta fill up his stun bar to get the nightmare out of him. And then so I spent more time than I should have fighting him with the axe. I should have just punched him to get his stun bar up. I didn't realize that was how it works. But see, now the nightmare comes out when the stun bar's maxed. And when that shit comes out, you want to kill it immediately before, you know, I think otherwise it'll go back into the enemy again. Now that the nightmare's out of him, you can kill him as you normally would. You know, and I was just playing it safe by this point because this was a hard fight. So I just wanted to make sure that I won. The next fight against the Soul Eater, though, would be very easy because there'll be an explosive barrel that takes away most of its life. There's actually a few of them you can use, so it shouldn't be hard. Yeah, this fight's easy. I tried to see if I could pull some bullshit from up here, but you can't get him to attack. But yeah, as you can see, there's a few explosive barrels, at least 3 of them. So, you know, if you can lure it next to one of them, you can do huge damage. Eventually, he'll probably walk in the way of one of them anyway. There's actually like 4 of them. There's a lot of them. So now watch his life bar when I hit that barrel. See, it's more than like half of his life bar gone from one of them. It's extremely powerful. I don't even think you have to hit the explosive barrel when he's open. I think it'll damage him no matter what, but I'm not sure. The Rage Stomp didn't work on him that time. I had success with it in the past. Maybe I should have threw the Rage Boulders may have worked. I didn't try that. But either way, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's an easy fight. You got all these explosives. So, it's not hard. And you may want to get rid of the weaker enemies so you can deal with this guy. And I think one more hit and he's dead. So, you know, it's an easy fight. And I guess another asshole comes in. So I kick him into the back and use the barrel. And then you'll get some items from killing that guy. You get the ring you need to complete the side mission, and then you can bring it over to the dwarf. There may be a few more small battles as you make your way back. And you get the Ice Troll runic attack, which normally you can craft it. I'm not sure how good it actually is. I don't think I used it yet. But yeah, now you have to fight some regular enemies. Nothing too hard at this point. But you can still die quickly. As usual, it's good to get rid of those nightmares immediately. But if not, you can still knock this possessed asshole into the pit. I think I may end up doing that. Or maybe I got rid of the nightmare. I got him out of the enemy. And these enemies are now very fast. They can cover distance really quickly. But we've been dealing with them for a while by this point. I think I died once on this part. It's a small area, so it can be a little dangerous. But as usual, going more aggressive was a lot easier. So yeah, that completes this mission. And I should have some more videos up pretty soon. So stay tuned for that. I'm definitely going to be doing more side missions for a little while, before I go back to the main story. So keep an eye out for that. And just skip ahead if you don't want to see the side missions. Then just skip to the story missions. I'll make sure I label them as optional, and stay tuned.